Hi, this is Rhetorical. Today I'll be doing my rhetorical analysis for the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So I just want to start off. So the movie was created by Fox. Now that movie was a great movie. It's one of the movies that I felt like it really touched me and I could really correlate. Now there was a writer by CNET.com by the name of Mark Searles. He said it perfectly when he says, "We're not used to superhero movies being masterpieces. We're used to them being mediocre. But this movie is a movie that we crave. We crave it, and I can back that up 100% because this is a fantastic movie. It's a movie that you definitely love. You definitely crave it because I feel like it resonates and it correlates with a lot of people, and especially a lot of kids as well. So just because it's so relatable, I think that's why this movie is spectacular because there's almost every scene you can relate yourself to, and I think that's awesome. So I just want to start off. So in the very beginning, we get this introduction to Peter Parker, the very first one, because there's multiple Spider-Mans that we're introduced with throughout the movie, and it gets a little confusing. But the very first Peter Parker, we get the introduction, we get to see who he is, what he does, and all that stuff. And then from there, it's a total 360. We get the introduction to Miles Morales. Miles is a mixed kid. His dad is an African American, his mom's a Puerto Rican. His dad is a cop. His mom's a nurse. So we get to see that different cultural diversities in that household, and I think that's very cool. So in that introduction, we get to see Miles is jamming out, listening to music. He's listening to a song by Post Malone called Sunflower, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then he's also drawing because that's what he loves to do. And then while he's doing that, his dad knocks on the door like, "You gotta get ready for school, son, get ready." Miles is not looking forward to it because this is not a school that he wants to go to. This is a school that he took a test that he got accepted to, so he's like, "Oh man." So he gets ready to school. He starts heading towards school, walking. Then he accidentally trips. And while he trips, his dad picks him up. His dad picks him up in the cop car, and he's really embarrassed. Like, "Dad, like, don't take me to school in the cop car, please. Please, you can embarrass me. Like, just get in." So his dad takes Miles to school, and just before he gets off the car to go to school, Miles' dad tells him, "Hey, Miles, I love you." And then Miles goes, "I know, Dad," and he walks out. But as soon as he walks out, his dad gets the microphone from the cop car and he goes, "Miles, you gotta say it back too," in front of his whole new classmates, and he's really embarrassed. So then Miles goes, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, Dad, I love you too." I thought that was really funny because I know as a child, I used to be embarrassed when I used to have to tell my mom and my dad "I love you" right before I left outside to go and play because my friends were like knocking on the door like, "Hey, Chris, come and play." I'm like, "Okay," and I'd be like, "Mom, I'm going outside." I'm like, "Okay, I love you, be careful." And I walk out, I'm like, "No, give me my kiss and say I love you." And then my friends just make fun of me. So I thought, man, that was really funny. I felt like that was me. I pictured my face on his. I feel like it hit home perfectly. But that's his introduction. So after school, he goes to go and see his uncle Aaron, which is the brother to his dad. So once he meets his Uncle Aaron, they talk about school and all that stuff. Miles is not really feeling it. He's not really liking this school, and his uncle can see it. So his uncle goes, "Hey, Miles, let me take you someplace." So they go on the ground. They go to this big empty wall, and then his uncle goes, "Miles, I want you to let out your feelings. Go ahead and just draw, because that's what he loves to do." And Miles goes, "Okay." So he gets out his spray paint and he starts drawing. Now, what he draws is very important because it correlates throughout the whole movie. What he draws is the word expectations with a black silhouette of himself. And I felt like, man, like they don't talk about it. They don't talk about what it says, what it is. They just admire it. They go, "Wow, it's beautiful." But they never talk about it. And I felt you have to read between the lines. Like, he drew that word for a reason because the expectation that is placed on Miles that he doesn't want to go through because he feels like the expectations that his dad is giving him, those are expectations that his dad had maybe when he was younger or something else. Like, that was a dream that his dad wanted. This is not something Miles wants. So Miles feels like the expectations on him, they're not really for him and they're not placed for him because I feel like there's two separate types of expectations. One, if you're at school, there's an expectation you should follow, and two, there's expectations of life. You should follow your own expectations. Don't listen to what other people say because at the end of the day, it's your body, your brain. You have the power and the decision to make your choices. So I felt like that was a very powerful message. Like I said, they don't talk about it, but you get to see it. Like, just reading between the lines, you'll understand. So I thought that was very powerful, and I thought that really related. I know not just to myself, but it relates to a lot of people. So that was awesome. And after that, he gets to this point. I'm fast forwarding a little bit. He gets to this point where he meets Spider-Man. They get together, have a little talk, you know. But while they're talking, Spider-Man was actually fighting Green Goblin. Green Goblin actually ends up hurting Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man's laying down, pretty much about to die. But Spider-Man doesn't let Miles know he's about to die. Like, he goes, "Hey, Miles, I need you to take this chip. I need you to put this up there and blow out this whole machine, because if not, they're gonna bring like all these different dimensions and it's gonna ruin the world." So Miles goes, "Okay." So Miles runs away, and then while Miles runs away, there's this evil guy called Kingpin, kills Spider-Man on the spot. And then Miles gets to see that, and he's heartbroken. So then he runs home. And then when he runs home, he sees the television, he sees everywhere around that Spider-Man has died. And he's just so hurt by it. And not only is he hurt by it, you see the whole city of Brooklyn hurt by it as well, because that was their superhero. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. They felt like, what are we going to do now? We don't have no superhero. And I definitely understand, I can relate, because I know my heroes, my kids, my parents. If I were to lose one of them, man, my whole world would flip-flop, and I don't know what I would do. So I definitely understand what Miles is going through, you know. So we're all going to be in that place one day, hopefully not soon, but we all get to see what death is. And especially of someone that you thought was mortal, he really wasn't. At the end of the day, he was just an everyday person, and we got to see him die, so that really sucked. But we saw that, and then after that, we get an introduction to these other Spider-Mans. The way they're introduced, I thought it was pretty awesome. They come through the shadows, like, they feel like all hope is lost, and the next thing you know, you see these three different Spider-Mans. Not your everyday Spider-Mans. One's a detective Spider-Man, one's a Japanese girl with a robot as a Spider-Man, and you have your pig, who I thought that was very funny, as a Spider-Man. So as they're talking, as Miles is talking with this other Spider-Man from a different universe, like, it's only two of us, we're not gonna be able to take Kingpin down and his crew. Next thing you know, you see them coming out the shadows slowly, and like, it was like a new air coming to the atmosphere. Like, you felt it. It was a fresh breath of air, and it's like a sigh of relief. Like, well, I think we'll be okay because we have these people. So then they come out and they introduce themselves. So I thought that was very awesome to get the crowd going. Like, man, like, they're really in a tough spot, but after you see them, they're like, yes, let's go, you know? So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then after that, they have a battle, these Spider-Man, all these different Spider-Mans and Miles and all that good stuff. And then Miles ends up finding out his uncle Aaron is actually the Prowler, which is one of the associates for Kingpin. And then Prowler is chasing Miles, and he ends up catching Miles, and he ends up choking him and putting him up in the air like this. And Miles, what he does is he takes off his mask, he shows his face, and he tells his uncle, or he tells the Prowler, like, "It's me, Miles, your nephew." And then Uncle Aaron, the Prowler, is like so confused, like, so he lets go of him, puts his mask back on, and as soon as he does that, he disobeys Kingpin's order to kill Miles. So Kingpin kills Uncle Aaron, and then Miles is just like crushed from there. So then what Miles does, he gets Uncle Aaron, he swings to an alley, and he lays him down, and then Uncle Aaron has like a fast one-on-one with him before he dies. He goes, "I've always wanted you to be proud of me. I wanted you to look up to me." He's like, "I'm sorry I disappointed you." And then Miles doesn't say anything. He's just lost for words, and then he dies because you see that Miles looked up to his uncle more than he looked up to his dad. But he ended up realizing that his uncle wasn't a good person. So that's very devastating, because we get to see death once again crush Miles. And like I said, it's something that we cannot relate to, because we all have a family member that at one point, either one day or someday, will pass, and then you're gonna have to go through that pain. So we get to see it and how it's handled. What also happens is, after seeing his uncle die, Miles sees the bigger picture. He realizes his relationship with his dad, you know. He goes, "Okay, you're my dad, I'm your son. Like, we shouldn't have this tension between each other, you know? Like, we should be a loving family." So then they're finding each other, you know, and they end up working things out, which is great because, like I said, it hits home. Not everybody has a perfect relationship with their parents. Sometimes it's rocky, but at the end of the day, it can always be salvaged. It can always be fixed. You can always work things out. Not one person should be overheard than the other. As long as you talk it out and figure it out and see things you'll be able to do okay. So I thought that was a really great message, sending it out, you know, especially to kids who have like tough relationship with their parents. So it can always be fixed. So I thought that was awesome. What I also wanted to do, there was this part where at the very end, Miles finds himself. And one of the Spider-Men from the different dimension tells him, in order to become Spider-Man, you have to find your leap of faith. And he was having so much trouble with that. But he ends up finding it. He finds his own leap of faith, and he ends up finding himself. And that would really help them expand him as Spider-Man and as Miles Morales. So I thought that was awesome. And then what I wanted to end it with, Peter Ramsey, the director of Spider-Man, here with Into the Spider-Verse. He was the first director to win an Oscar for a superhero film. And I want to end it with this. He says, it was a film to all humans that we all had the potential to be superheroes. So at the end of the day, don't forget that we all have the potential to be superheroes. Thank you for taking the time. Have a great day.